Hey, what's up guys and welcome to Anime King 2. And today I'm going to be giving you part 23 of What If Naruto Was a Vampire. Remember to get this one to 100 like as usual, share this to all of your friends in your social media platform, and also go ahead and check out the brand new episode of What If the 10 Tails was sealed inside of Naruto. So go ahead and check out that and enjoy. And over on Anime King, I post a brand new episode of What If Naruto returned different after his training trip, so go ahead and check out that and enjoy as well guys. And I also post a new episode of What If Naruto was neglected by everyone, so go ahead and check out that and enjoy as well guys. And remember, if you're new and this is the first time you hear my voice and you enjoy the videos on both Anime King and Anime King 2, go ahead and click that red subscribe button to become a part of the Anime King family. And thank you for all of your help and your support. And yeah, without further ado, let's begin this new episode. Begin the intro.
I think the girls with their nails done now. Girls with their nails done. I think the girls with their
So the last part we left off, Remiel and also Ezekiel came to the Naruto universe, but when Remiel walked through the portal again, his body let off steam as he went to one knee, as the portal sapped a lot of your energy. But Ezekiel walked in and he was perfectly fine, as the other soldiers tried to come in, but the first one that tried was disintegrated. They didn't have enough magic, enough power to go through the portal without dying, and right now, they are currently weak on manpower, seeing that they just fight a war with other species on their earth. They prevailed, but they lost a great portion of their soldier and a lot of their high-ranking mages. So they will have to get help in order to see this world and to soon take over it. As they went, and Remiel has already been gathering information as he brought Ezekiel to the masked man. They then talk, and after talking with Nagato, they say that they will help the Akatsuki gain that nine-tailed brat. They just want one thing in return. They want the girl known as Eva, as they told the group that Eva has turned him into a vampire, and the only way to take him down is by disintegrating his body completely. As Naruto and the others move into the Namikaze residence, one of the small houses, not the main house, since it got destroyed in the night of the Kyuubi attack, as Yujito has been giving X all of the information about Konoha, because she felt the same way when she just arrived when she was new here and she didn't really know anyone, as she ended up falling asleep at the house that he chose. As Naruto was sleeping, as Eva was also there, as she would get night terrors from she know that Remiel is in this world, and she know that soon Ezekiel will be right behind him. As she jumped up in the night, as Naruto comforted her and told her it's alright, he will never let anything happen to her, as she remembered countless of torturing, as Ezekiel wouldn't let her die, as he would torture her day by day and only gave her a small portion of blood so that her body won't mummify, as she was scared, knowing that if it comes up to it, she would gladly risk her life for Naruto and the others, as she wouldn't want them to go through the same thing just because they're protecting her. As the next day, they were training in the forest, as Remiel and Ezekiel came to Konoha, the cliff away from the village. As they looked upon the village, they wanted to see how strong it is, as Remiel then opened a portal, as he got a small box from his world, from the mages that work in technology, as they then flew above Konoha, as they released a small vial, as it dropped and broke, as it released steam, as the steam then formed and turned into a two-headed dog. It was a monster that main purpose was to hunt vampires, the vampire hunter creature. As the thing teared through Konoha, it feed on fear, the more powerful it gains, as it found Naruto and the others training in the forest, as it had a deadly beam that released from his mouth, and when that beam touched you, it makes a vampire take longer to heal, as it would be bad if it touched X, it will take even longer for him to fully heal back. As Naruto stood his ground and the giant dog rushed towards him, So yeah guys, that was basically the last part we left off. You guys can search across the place and check it out for yourself. So let's start this new episode. Naruto was in the forest as a giant two-headed creature dog rushed towards him. As the thing was looking at him ready to tear him to pieces as Eva was behind him. As Naruto dashed forward, the dog rushed at Naruto. As Naruto slammed his foot in the ground, a giant crystal emerged, tearing through the dog's shoulder, but the dog shrugged it off like it was nothing as he just kept on charging at Naruto. As Naruto jumped up in air and released a huge fireball, the dog released his mouth and released a beam of white light that teared through the fireball. As Naruto twisted his body in mid-air, as the white light teared through the trees around him, incinerating everything in its path. Yujito jumped up in mid-air as she went through hand sign, as she released 5 blue mouse as they crashed on top of the dog's head, but he shrugged it off like it was nothing. As X came under the dog's chin and delivered a powerful uppercut, slamming right into his chin, but the dog lifted up his head and then drive it back down, knocking X down into the ground. The other face then opened his mouth as a beam started to build, but before he could tear X's body apart, a crystal broke from the ground, stabbing it right in its eye, the left face, as the dog howled out in pain as it moved back and shook his head, as Naruto dropped from the sky with a boom, as he landed on the dog's head, the right one, as Naruto brought up his fist and slammed it down hard, as there was a tremor that went through the earth. As Naruto's fist was coated in the fox chakra, as he was slamming his fist down hard, the dog jumped straight up into the air, as he twisted his body and then came down with a force, as he hit the ground, boom, everyone was sent flying away. The entire trees that was around them was blasted away by the backlash. As Tsunade and her envoys were rushing towards the scene along with the rest of the ninjas, as they had to stop as a huge shockwave teared through the area. Meanwhile, back with Naruto, the dog got back up on 2 feet as he shook his head and looked around, as some weird liquid was coming from the left head's eye where Naruto stabbed the crystal right through, as it couldn't open it anymore. As Naruto stood right in front of the dog, looking up at it, as Eva was still sitting there, as her body was still shaking in fear, as she thought she left these things behind. But if this thing is here, that means he's here as well. As she snapped her head to the right, and she saw them, both Ezekiel and Remiel, were flying in the air. As the both of them looked down at her, they seemed to be just watching. But if they came down here, it will all be over, Eva thought, because she knew the power that Ezekiel possesses. Remiel is strong, but he's nowhere on Ezekiel's level. As she started to shake even more, as she then heard a crashing sound, as the dog was sent flying into the forest by a powerful punch, a dual punch from Naruto and X. As Yujito was waiting for the dog on the other side, as she was gathering lightning all over her body, as her body was cackling with lightning, as Yujito waited until the dog was in the perfect position, as she then released all of it, a big bolt of lightning that ripped through the air and slammed into the dog's back, as the dog howled out in pain, as the dog then heard something building above him, and then beside of him, and then to his left, as he looked to see Yujito, as she was gathering fire, and building a small fireball that kept on growing, and above him was Naruto, as Naruto held out his hand, as a red Rasen shuriken started to build, as X was to the side, as he was gathering a huge fireball as well, as the 3 of them were pumping chakra into their abilities, as they then launched it. The dog had no time to move, as the 3 attacks collided. The shockwave was so massive that people deep into the center of Konoha felt it, as the entire place rocked with an explosion, as everyone could see the giant white light that erupted out of everywhere, as Nadia and her group rushed towards the destruction and chaos that was happening. As the smoke finally cleared down, as Nadia arrived to see Naruto, she rushed over to him. "What the hell is going on?" she said. "This beast came out of nowhere and attacked us," Naruto said. As the smoke finally cleared, and the dog body was in pieces, manga pieces, foot, piece of his head and nose over there and there. As Naruto looked over, they sure did a number on it. Naruto then turned his head to the right, as wings extended from his back as he flew straight up. "Where are you going?" said Snatty. "How the hell did he do that?" said X. "You mean you can't do that?" asked Yujito. "I don't even know what the hell he just did," X said. As Naruto appeared in mid-air, as he was face to face with Ezekiel and Remiel. "You two, you were the one behind this," said Naruto. "Indeed we were," said Remiel. "And it seems like you're stronger than I first thought." "You better believe," said Naruto. "I will never let you touch Eva." As Ezekiel then chuckled. "Do you even know who Eva is?" he asks. "What do you mean?" Naruto asks. "Well, Eva is a monster, to put it. She come to this world. I bet she took a new start and start over. And you believe that she's nice and gentle. But you should know she's a beast of pure destruction and chaos. She ripped away my family from me, my son." "What? Your family?" said Naruto. "Oh, I'm guessing she didn't tell you. She told me that your son tried to kill her, so she killed him." "Killed her? Killed him? Huh. You stupid, stupid boy. At least part of her anger towards me is just." On our world, hunting vampires is something that we do as mages. Vampires usually roam the earth, slaughtering people as much as they can. And from what I can see, Eva turned you into one of those deadly creatures. "And soon enough, we will have to kill you," he said. But let me finish my story. We hunt vampires on a daily basis. I lost many good men and soldiers to that. A lot of us didn't make it back. It took years upon years. But finally, the king of the vampire then came to a treason with our king. They will never enter the human city, and they will just feed on animals in the wild. And we will never hunt them again. And that treason lasts for a long time. Couple of years to say. But a vampire, that is nothing, because you know, they can't die unless someone kills them. Immortality. But one day, someone broke that peaceful agreement that we decided upon. My wife and my 3-year-old son. He was just 3. Yes, 3. She was coming home with him when she was attacked. My poor son fell to the ground, crying, not even know what is going on, and my wife was drained of all blood. Our mages, all of us gathered together, and we find who was the culprit. It was Marcos, Eva's brother. And that is when everything changed. We started to slaughter them, and they started to slaughter us again. And the war raged on, until years upon years passed. And my son grew up. He met this beautiful girl. Her name was Eva. He told me how much he loved her and wanted to be with her. And by then, I had already slaughtered her family for what her brother did to my wife. And neither of them knew the situation that they were in. Eva never knew that I was the one who killed her mother and father because of what they did to my wife. She thought it was just a normal mage or some others. And my son never knew that it was Marcos, Eva's brother, that killed his mother. They started dating and having fun until the day he came to me, telling me that he's going to ask her to marry him. And I have met Eva before, and I had no idea she was a vampire. You see, they have this spell that they can use to hide everything vampirism about them. Change your skin color, making them look completely normal. I knew back then, something about her looked familiar, because I remember when I slaughtered her mother and father, I saw 2 teenagers running. 2 of them were escaping, and I got a glimpse of her here. But I thought, no, it couldn't be. So I pushed that out of my mind. I gave my son full blessings because I thought that Eva was a nice, wonderful girl. And the day he asked her, that was the day that she told him she was a vampire. But he didn't have any hatred or resentment towards her. He came to me. He begged me to make her live, that she was not like all vampires. Even though I hated vampires, I loved my son. I would do anything for him. So I told him that I will pardon Eva and she can live alongside the humans as long as she doesn't do anything out of the way. And he gladly accepted. Eva then came over that day, as she was scared at first, thinking that I was just playing the act to hurt her. But I was 100% real, and I accepted her in the family. Until we started to talk about her backstory. She sat there and told me about her parents that got slaughtered, but she told me she didn't blame me or any one of them. That the past is the past. And that is the day I realized who exactly her parents were and who was the one who killed them, and that was none other than me. I didn't recognize that her brother was Marcos, which I have never seen before. And take this in mind, this was after she left. My son then came back, as he was rejoicing as she said yes, she would marry him. But I told him everything. At first, he didn't believe me. He said that I was lying, I just didn't want him to marry her. After a long discussion and showing him proof, he went to go and talk to her, as he begged me to not come because he knew I would do something rash. But I still came, under a spell, to turn my body completely invisible. Not even vampires can sense me, unless I'm not close enough, so I waited a distance away. As I watched my son ask her and beg her to tell him the truth, as she broke down in crying, telling him that yes, her brother did kill someone a long time back, breaking the truce that vampires had. Her brother was just hungry that day and was not in the right state of mind. But to my surprise, my son forgave her, saying that it's not actually her fault, and he still loved her. It was then that he came, her brother, surprising me, as I finally see him. Over these years, I've been hunting for him. I have searched far and wide, but he finally came into my sights. As I want to go in there and slaughter him, but I know my son was at risk. So I waited, I bided my time until my son got out of there, for me to tear everything to pieces. Completely annihilate each and every one of them. But her brother Marcos did not like my son being there. He lashed out. Until today, I don't know what for. He was telling my son to leave, but Eva didn't want him to leave. He then attacked my son. At that moment, I moved, but my son attacked back. As I was a gifted, known mage, I taught my son a lot. My son released a spell that could incinerate Marcos, killing him. But before I could reach them, Eva told my son to stop. She begged him to stop, but he didn't want to, as he wanted to kill Marcos for what he did. Even though my son is not an angry person, he still wants Marcos dead for killing his mother. So he continued the fire attack. As Marcos started to beg, I burst inside, and I saw it. Eva drive a knife right through my son's chest, protecting her brother, as she slit his neck open as he fell to the ground. As I rushed over to him, the both of them went through the window running off. As I tried my best, but nothing would work. He was already dead. Bringing people back from the dead was a magic, forbidden and lost in time. And the only way to turn someone into a vampire is to feed the person when they're alive blood, and then they die with it in their system. But I would never let my son turn into one of those creatures. And Eva retreated. Years after that, a squad found her in a local village. We captured her. She took down many of my mans before that. I mean many of them. But I still captured her. I tortured her for years upon years. And she lost it one day and told me that she was happy my son was dead. He was a letdown, he was a drag, as she wanted to show her true vampire instincts and rip everyone to pieces, but he was holding her back. I didn't know if this was a plot to just get at me, to just get me angry, but it did. I lashed out. I was about to end her, to get rid of her terrible life there and there. But Marcos then attacked. Marcos attacked, breaking into my facility with a ton of other vampires he gathered to help. They took down many of my soldiers, a lot of them. He then grabbed Eva as he ran. But we caught them in the alley, where I incinerated Marcos, killing that bastard once and for all. I wanted to catch Eva back. I wanted to make her pay. But she got transported to this world, something that Marcos got from some mage, who I don't know yet. It seems like she was working, or he was working a mage, just to protect her. And I still can't find out who that is. Who would dare help them? But as you know, she escaped and came to this world. So, said Ezekiel, tell me, boy. I heard that your name is Naruto, is that right? Yeah, Naruto said. Who is the real villain here? The vampires. None of this would have happened if Marcos hadn't killed my wife and started back the war. And then Eva killed my son. Her parents was a vampire. They were all cruel, destructive beings. They deserved to die. So I did. I released my wrath, destroying them in the process, burning them. But both Marcos and her escaped. Now you defend her. You should know she's a monster over the years. Before Eva calmed down or even met my son, there was countless reports giving her a description, and I now realize it was her. Her family was one of the wicked breeds of vampire. Those who doesn't care about human life, just slaughter for the fun of it. And now you stand before me, wanting to protect her. What kind of idiot are you? As Naruto narrowed his eyes at Ezekiel, as he clenched his fists. It doesn't matter, Naruto said. I can't allow you to take Eva. Suit yourself. But the time will come when you will have to make a choice, or die. But the people of this world are already after you, so it seems like you would die same way. But for now, try your best. Think that you can save her, that you can hold her off. But no, I will be coming back. And next time with the army. As I can see, your village is strong. Yes, I can't lie, it is strong. The power you display is different than I ever seen before. Mixed with your vampire ability, you will be a dangerous foe to fight. But it doesn't matter. When I return, you will have to make a choice. Your head or Eva, or the rest of the precious people you care about in this village. So boy, think, are you really going to protect a monster? As Ezekiel then pointed his hand at Naruto, a farewell gift, he said. As Naruto felt the gravity on him increase, as his body started to push to the ground, as he slammed into the ground, that thud. But Naruto picked up himself as the gravity was still on him. But he stood back up. Impressive indeed, said Ezekiel. Remiel, let's go. As Remiel opened a portal, as the both of them went in and vanished. Eva then rushed over to Naruto. Naruto, Naruto, she said. Are you okay? As Naruto narrowed his eyes at her. Eva, we need to talk. Huh? She said, as she heard the tone of his voice. Time skip. Later in the night, Naruto and Eva were in the compound. The both of them alone were standing there. As Naruto sighed and sit down on the bed. So, he wasn't lying. I'm sorry, said Eva. I didn't want you to think that I was some monster. A creature that cares about no one, she said. I had to do what I had to do to protect my brother. I know what my brother did was wrong, but he's still my brother, and I still couldn't leave him out. Even though I loved his son. We were going to get married, but my brother would have died if I didn't do anything. But it was for nothing because he still died. As Naruto narrowed his eyes. So you're telling me that your brother started all of this? He was the one that made vampires hate it again. As Eva lowered her head. Yeah, he was. I know what I'll do, she said. And what is that, Naruto asks. I'll go with him. I'll take the torturing and the suffering. Just to make sure you're okay, she said, as she gave him a faint smile. If I don't go, he will attack here. And a lot of people die. And I don't want you to die either, Naruto. So, the next time you return, I'll go smack. As Naruto smacked her across the face. As he was clenching his fist in anger. As tears were running down his cheek. Stop saying that, he said, as he gave her an angry look. I know that you did bad things in your past, but if it wasn't for you, I wouldn't be anywhere right now. I would have been that same demon brat who would be mocked, mistreated. I wouldn't have had anyone. I would have been same in this village, who everyone hated. You're the one that gave me hope, gave me these abilities, gave me power, and now you just want to give up? To turn in yourself? You want to be tortured just for my sake? You're not going to do that, Naruto said in anger. I already told you, I will protect you with everything I got. It doesn't matter if it hurts me or pain me. I will give my life for you. You're something very special to me, and it doesn't matter who or what. I will never let them take you. As Eva stood there, she then stepped forward and kissed him. As Naruto was taken aback by that, as she was crying at the same time. I wanted to do this for so long, she said. Naruto, I love you. You're willing to risk so much for me. I never thought there would be anyone that would risk their life. I thought when I lost my brother I would be alone. But no, I realized you're the one. You would always be there for me. And I'm sorry. I would never try to give up myself to make you feel any pain. I will stay by your side. As Naruto pressed his lips against hers, cutting her off. As he spoke after breaking the kiss. I love you too, he said. As the both of them started to kiss again until it turned out into a full makeout session. As the kiss started to get very heated. Until Eva started to slowly remove his shirt as she looked at his bare chest. As he did the same as she was wearing her bra. As he then picked her up. As he brought her over to the bed. As the both of them lie down. As they start to kiss again. The next day, X came into Naruto's house. As he looked around. What happened, he said. As he saw that the place was a mess. Things were pushed off the dresser on the table. As Naruto blushed a bit, thinking about last night. Well, you see... Oh, said Eva. She came right at the door. As she was already outside, Naruto and I had an argument. Huh? X said. Yes. We were disagreeing about something and we kinda fight. Both of you fight in your house? Yeah, said Eva. It wasn't a long fight, but we did fight. But we're friends again. Oh, X said with a smile. I'm glad to hear that. As Naruto sighed. Good save, he thought. So come on, you ready to go train? He asked, looking at Naruto. I'll be there soon, he said. I have to talk to Hokage first. X nodded. See you guys, he said as he ran off. As Naruto looked at Eva, as he didn't know why, but it kind of felt strange. After remembering what happened last night, between the both of them. As Eva walked up to him, and she kissed him out of the blue again. So, this is a regular thing, Naruto said. Huh? Eva said, confused. What do you mean? I mean, are we officially dating now? He asked. Well, after what we did last night, I would be angry at you if you say we aren't dating. And by the way, we've known each other for years now. We train together. We stay together for a long period of time. And last night I told you I love you. After all of that, you told me you love me too. So, you don't think we're dating? As Naruto scratched the back of his head. Oh, sorry about that, he said. I have to talk to Yujito, Eva said. Yujito, said Naruto. Yeah. When you were gone, I saw sight of her. She, like you as well, Naruto. And I don't want this relationship, this friendship that all of us have, to be ripped apart just by me and you starting the date. You think it's gonna be that bad in her to ask? Well, if we don't tell her and she finds out, she will get angry. So I'm gonna talk to her. Weren't you supposed to be talking with the Hokage? Oh yeah, that's right. Tell me how it worked out, said Naruto, as he kissed Eva on the cheek, and then ran off. As she rubbed her cheek, she smiled. She then saw a rift open, as a paper slid right through it. The paper fell on the bed. She backed away for a second, waiting to see if it was some kind of explosive traps or something. She then went over to the paper as she picked it up. As she looked at it, as it gave her a location where to meet. As the name read, Remiel. Why the hell does he want to meet me, she thought. No, it can't be. He can't try to be taking me back. And he can't, by the way, she thought, because if he try, I'll tell. I will threaten to tell Ezekiel what really happened that night. As Eva headed off. A few minutes later, Eva was at the outskirts of Konoha, in the Fire Nation. As she was waiting, give someone a message to show up, and you're goddamn late, she thought. As she then suddenly saw a rift open, as Remiel walked out, she quickly went on guard. I'm not here to fight, he said. What do you want then? Or I'm here to talk. Ezekiel still doesn't know that I am the one who freed you guys that night and told your brother where you were and gave him that paper to go through the dimension. I am still trying to find a way for the researchers not to find a fully enough link for them to come to this world. I have already gathered the important details and destroy them. Only I know the full way to come through to this world without any side effect and harm, but they're close. Why are you telling me this, she said. You attacked me. You fought for him. Eva. He then stepped forward. You know, I love you, he said. As he tried to touch her, but she stepped back. We can't. I am in love with someone else, she said to him. Who? He asked. It's Naruto, she said. And by the way, you betrayed me. You left me. That day, you waited for so long, even if it was you that freed me that night. Look at the things that he did to me. He tortured me for years. I begged you. I beg you to let me and my brother escape quicker. If you had, my brother would still be alive right now, but you didn't. You were still devoted to Ezekiel, and he tortured me. So you don't have the right to come here and act like everything is good between us. And besides, you were the one who sent that monstrous dog after me. You are part of the research division, and they were the one who created that thing, that vampire hunter. I had to, unless you would have found out, said Remiel. You got to believe me, he said as he stepped forward. I was happy that day I found you on this earth. We still have a bond and you know that. Don't tell me you'll forget all those, as he stepped forward, passionate night of love, making. All those nights when I will relieve you from your stress. When the both of us, naked body, will be tangled together and become one. Do you really think that boy, that Naruto boy, can satisfy you in any way? He's too young, he's just a child. You need someone that will risk everything for you. You need someone who's always going to be there for you. And I never gave up, Eva. I never gave up on you. I tried my best. All this time I was planning. Just watch, he said, as the symbol in his hand started to light up as he opened a dimension. What's that? Eva said. That's a planet I found with nothing but humans. No one would ever found us there. We can go there and live out our life and be happy. Once I finish everything, I plan on taking down Ezekiel. I'm just waiting to get him in the right trap, and then I'll exact everything. After he is dead, We can both run away and live together, faking our own deaths, like we died on that night. I can send back a hologram as my final message, telling them that if they don't see us again, all of us died in the explosion. And finally, we can live at peace. It is an earth where people don't have power. You can drink as much blood as you want there, and no one will be the wiser. As he stepped forward again. Meanwhile, with Snazzy, what the hell happened? She asks. As I told you, that crazy guy who came looking for Eva, he sent that beast in the village to attack. I don't know the full reason yet, but as you can see, we were able to subdue it, and it is now dead. As Snazzy had a bottle of steak in her hand, as Naruto saw how conflicted she looked. What's wrong? He asks. Naruto, for the safety of the village, if it comes up to it, I have to get Eva out of here. What? Said Naruto. What do you mean get her out of here? Naruto, look what happened. Just look. That beast that was created, it could have killed more. People right now are mourning their deaths, mourning their family member who died in the attack. That thing came for her. So if it's up to her or the village, I have to choose a village, Naruto. I just hope that you don't hate me. Meanwhile, with Eva and Remiel. So what do you say, Eva? Will you stand by my side? The question is, do you still love me? He asks. But guys, I'm ending this episode right here. If you want to see the next part of this, you already know what to do. Like, subscribe, comment down below, and turn that bell notifications they posted. Remember to share to all of your friends in your social media platform. And go ahead and check out the brand new episode of What If Naruto Was Neglected by Everyone over on Anime King. And I also post a new episode of What If Naruto Returned Different after his training trip. So go ahead and check that out and enjoy. And I also post a new episode on this channel of What If the 10th Tail was sealed inside of Naruto. So check that out and enjoy as well, guys. But for now, I'm out of here. Peace.